If there's one thing the internet loves more than hype, it's a downfall. And Mizkiff's story, man, it's the kind that starts like a feel-good grind romance and ends like a slow-motion car crash everybody watches, even if they pretend they don't. It's a rise fueled by charisma, humor, and pure Twitch culture magic, followed by controversies, betrayals, accusations, and a dramatic collapse that feels straight out of a streaming docuseries. So let's walk through it all from the start, from New Jersey, long before the millions of viewers and the drama, when Matthew Renato was just a kid trying to figure out life. He didn't grow up dreaming of being a Twitch legend. That wasn't the plan. Back then, he was all about finance, the classic secure career that parents love and teenagers tolerate. And honestly, he had the talent for it. When he was just 16, he turned $2,500 into $150,000 through cannabis-related stock tips. Everyone around him thought he was a future investor genius. But when you're young and suddenly have money, discipline isn't exactly your strongest skill. A few bad calls, and the entire fortune evaporated. The high was gone as fast as it came, and instead of Wall Street glory, he was left with a lesson he'd carry for life. Fast success can disappear overnight. Then things got even worse. He got hit with viral myocarditis, heart inflammation, the kind of thing that makes you rethink everything. His dreams of climbing the finance ladder collapsed. He left school, left the plan, and eventually followed his parents to Florida. And that's where the shift began. When one door slammed shut, he stumbled toward another. The messy, chaotic, unpredictable world of online content. At first, Mizkiff wasn't some master entertainer. He was just a Twitch viewer who hung around communities, joked in chats, and soaked up the culture. People like Glink pushed him. Dude, make content, you actually have something. So in 2018, he picked up a camera and started producing mini documentaries about Twitch stars. Tyler One, Greek Gods, Ninja, you name it. At first, nobody cared. His videos barely cracked a few thousand views. But slowly the tide changed. Fans from those streamers started noticing his humor, his timing, his understanding of the platform. He wasn't an outsider trying to report on Twitch. He was one of them, speaking their language. Then Ice Poseidon entered the picture. One of the biggest, most controversial creators on Twitch at that time. And Mizkiff became his cameraman. That job was basically like getting tossed into the deep end of internet culture. Suddenly, he was living the wild streamer lifestyle firsthand. Chaos, drama, non-stop unpredictability. But being around it taught him something important. Attention online is magnetic. If you can hold it, you win. If you lose it, you sink. By July 2018, he decided to stop riding shotgun and start driving. He stepped away from being Ice Poseidon's cameraman and began streaming himself. It wasn't explosive at first, just a few hundred viewers hanging out while he talked, reacted, and joked around. But even early on, people noticed something special. He understood chat. He treated his viewers like actual partners in the chaos. And just like that, the just chatting style he helped pioneer started gaining traction. He built a crew, Erob, Pokelaw's Greek god Smitch Jones. They'd hop onto his stream, banter, argue, joke, create memes on the fly. And the numbers grew fast. By late 2018, thousands were tuning in. Even XQC and Moxie started stopping by his house. Something was shifting. Mizkiff wasn't just a streamer anymore. He was becoming a hub. A guy who understood that success on Twitch wasn't just about being funny. It was about building a network, a community, a world people wanted to be part of. In 2019, he made a move that changed everything. He relocated to Austin, Texas. Back then, Austin was becoming the streaming capital of the US. Huge creators lived there. No state income tax. Tons of collaboration opportunities. For Mizkiff, it was the perfect ecosystem. His relationship with Maya Higa also boosted both their careers, and together they became one of the platform's hottest couples. Then came the creation of OTK, One True King, in 2020. Mizkiff, Asmongold, Rich Campbell, Tips, and his fan joined forces to build an org that immediately turned into a powerhouse. OTK pulled sponsors, launched esports teams, ran events, and dominated Twitch trends. Mizkiff soared to the top. Millions earned yearly, 40,000 live viewers every day, and fans who treated him like a king of the platform. This was his peak. The era where his charisma, his networking, his timing, and his humor all aligned perfectly. But like every story where someone flies too close to the sun, the downfall started quietly, almost invisibly. Around 2021 and 2022, gambling streams exploded on Twitch. People like Aiden Ross, XQC, and Trainwrecks were pulling insane numbers by gambling live with huge sponsors. But the ethics of it were messy. Teenagers were watching creators gamble with millions. Mizkiff could have taken a massive bag, $36 million. But he turned it down publicly and talked about not wanting to influence gambling culture. On paper, that made him look responsible, even traditional, almost old school in his values. But the decision put him at odds with streamers who took the deals. Then Slicker's scam blew up. Over $300,000 stolen from friends and fans to feed a gambling addiction. Twitch went into panic mode. The platform banned most gambling, but Amazon still had business deals with gambling companies. Hypocrisy was everywhere, and smack in the middle of the storm, Mizkiff tweeted shots at Trainwrecks. That single tweet triggered a domino effect so destructive that Mizkiff's entire career would crack under it. Trainwrecks fired back with accusations that Mizkiff had covered up allegations against his friend Crazy Slick. That was the spark. Suddenly, old stories from 2020 resurfaced about streamer Adriana Lee and uncomfortable behavior at a party. Her account was complicated and emotional. She said she was touched while extremely intoxicated, not assaulted but deeply unsettled. But the controversy wasn't just about what happened. It was about what happened after. Mizkiff allegedly sent Maya Higa and Mitch Jones to talk to Adriana, and many felt the conversation was meant to downplay the situation. Whether that was intentional or misunderstood didn't matter anymore. The internet had decided something shady was going on. This exploded into one of Twitch's biggest community meltdowns. Arguments, live stream battles, subtweets, panels, reaction videos. It was everywhere. Mizkiff was placed on leave from OTK. Fans turned on him. Friends distanced themselves. His entire image as the social glue of Twitch began to crack. A third-party investigation later cleared him of orchestrating a cover-up, but public opinion never fully recovered. And then, just when he was trying to stabilize, the darkest chapter of his story emerged. His relationship with Amiru, had always been private and complicated, and in 2024, she finally stepped forward with allegations of psychological abuse, controlling behavior, emotional manipulation, verbal aggression, and attempted sexual assault. She described a relationship filled with slammed doors, objects thrown, walls punched, and a pattern of fear and instability. She said Mizkiff controlled her clothing, her friendships, her streaming schedule. She said the relationship wasn't just bad, it was traumatic. Mizkiff responded with a mix of denial and partial admission. He admitted to aggressive moments and anger problems, blamed steroids and psychedelic use for making him volatile, and said he was trying to protect her from stalkers. But he denied intentional abuse and assault. And suddenly, it wasn't just Twitch judging him. It was the entire internet. His career, which had always been built on trust, community, friendships, and networks, collapsed. ODK dropped him completely. He filed lawsuits against Amir, Asmongold, and his own former organization. Videos of him appeared where he seemed unstable, depressed, angry. He lost 50,000 followers, then more. Collaborators cut ties. Even people who used to hype him up went silent. He tried to pull a Dr. Disrespect-style comeback, but the problem was simple. Dr. Disrespect built an independent empire. Mizkiff built a network-based career. And when the network leaves, the empire falls. He sold his house in Austin and moved to LA, trying to restart. But every comeback attempt was overshadowed by new accusations, new drama, or people bringing up the past. OTK itself suffered scandals and losses. And Mizkiff found himself increasingly isolated, misunderstood, and viewed with skepticism by the community that once adored him. Numbers don't lie. At his peak, 2 million followers, 40,000 live viewers daily, 1 million views on his Tyler 1 doc in just 3 months. A gym with 1,000 members. Deals worth tens of millions offered to him and rejected. And now, a fractured reputation, a damaged friendship circle, lawsuits, mental health struggles, and a community that doesn't know whether to forgive him, ignore him, or keep him at arm's length. What makes Mizkiff's story so haunting is how fast everything changed. He went from one of the most loved personalities on Twitch to one of its most controversial figures. From a guy who built others up to a man accused of tearing people down. From someone who could make the internet laugh for hours to someone who became a warning sign for what fame and pressure can do when things go wrong. And yet, if you listen closely to his recent appearances, there's still a spark of the old Mizkiff in there. The entertainer, the hustler, the guy who refuses to completely disappear. But rebuilding a career after this level of damage isn't easy. Not when your industry is built on parasocial trust. Not when your entire brand was always rooted in friendship and community. Not when the world has receipts, emotions, memories, and trauma attached to your name. Maybe he'll reinvent himself. Maybe he'll stay a cautionary tale. Maybe he'll pull off the wildest comeback in Twitch history. Or maybe, like so many internet stars before him, he'll remain suspended in that strange space between fame and infamy. Remembered, but not fully welcomed back. Whatever comes next, one thing is clear. Mizkiff's rise wasn't luck. His fall wasn't random. And his story is one of the most dramatic, controversial, and painfully human journeys the streaming world has ever seen.